All right. So first up, like I said, we're not going to be covering the assassination stuff. I've gone over why we're not going to do that. I don't think it's beneficial, like at all. We know what took place. We don't know how it happened, who was involved, why it happened. We don't know any of that stuff. We can speculate, but again, I don't see the purpose of doing that. So we're not going to go over that. But what we're going to talk about tonight is Trump. JD Vance, which was his vice president pick, which is not looking very good in the polls that I see. People, I think it's the worst vice president selection since the 1980s, is what I just saw today, which is interesting. And again, who knows if the polls are even true? I'm just going off of that, as well as us, the Christians, the church, prophecy community. We're going to be covering these three things today. And so, like I said at the intro there, I've been sitting on info for about 2 years that I haven't had an opportunity to use until now. Again, I didn't see the point of doing it back then. I think it would have just been glossed over and forgotten about. And so I just hung on to it, and this is why I hang on to it for things like this. And so we're going to talk about that, the connections to technology and bio stuff, as well as Peter Thiel and his connections as well. And then again, I'm going to talk about us, the church, and the prophecy community there at the end. So right now, based upon facts, not emotional, worldly hope, I can tell you that Trump is in the club. And for some reason, I'm just like caught in like a rift with waves where it's just people seem to understand that they can see it. And then all of a sudden, a giant wave just pushes everybody back. And we all forget about this because of events like we just saw with the assassination. Well, because of that, clearly he can't be. You sure about that? If we go back in history on some of this stuff, we're not going to go, we don't have time to do that. But if you go back in history on some of this stuff, people were in the club and this stuff got pulled all the time. Just saying, if they can, I'm on YouTube, can't say it. Not even going to say I'm going to get in trouble if I do that. So, but he is. I mean, there's just so much evidence that points that he's in the club, the people that he hangs out with, his past, his history, the things that he did during his administration that people just want to completely ignore and blame other people for. I'm actually going to prove some of that stuff tonight that people seem to always have an excuse for. But he is absolutely in the club, and this is based on facts, not evidence. As the right-wingers like to say, facts don't care about your feelings. Just being honest. And he, just like last time, is adding to the deep state and to the destruction of America. People, I say it all the time, he promised to drain the swamp, but in fact, he actually added to it. And I always put this out here for people because the excuse I always hear is, well, he just didn't know who was part of the deep state, or he didn't have the ability to take down the deep state. Question. Is he as smart as you think he is if he couldn't figure out who was a part of the deep state? And is he actually going to be able to get anything done his second time if he wasn't going to be able to get it done the first time? I mean, you're the one who comes up with those excuses, so I'm just giving you an answer for it. And back in 2018, Trump nominated a guy by the name of Peter C. Wright to be the assistant administrator for the U.S. Environment Protection Agency. Wright was known for working with Monsanto and Dow Chemicals when he was brought on by Trump into the administration. Trump was also added, and I love this guy. Nobody ever talks about him anymore. I wonder why. Trump also added William Barr, known for shredding the Constitution with many of his attorney generals or attorney, Department of Justice, all that type of stuff that he did, as well as he headed up Trump's FBI and Department of Justice pre-crime program called DEEP, also known as Disruption and Early Engagement Program. Which is a pre-crime program in order to stop mass shootings and assassination attempts and all that type of stuff using technology to do so. If you go back about a year and a half ago, I think I got a video breaking all that down, who's involved, what was all involved with that, as well as William Barr was involved with covering up the Epstein death event. He was Epstein's lawyer, and he helped cover it up during all of that stuff, which, by the way, if you actually want to dive into it, Trump has had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein since the 1980s when he was also connected with the Clintons. Nobody wants to talk about that, though. Interesting. Now, Trump's head of Operation Warp Speed was a guy by the name of Dr. Moncef Slaoui, who was heavily tied to Big Pharma, as well as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of this stuff. So coming from Pharma Times, GlaxoSmithKline, head of R&D, Tachi Yamada, decided to leave that company and go and join the Gates Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This is GlaxoSmithKline's head of R&D. Yamada will retire from the drug maker on June 1st. This was back in 2006, by the way. Take up a position at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. 60-year-old Yamada will be replaced by Monsef Slaoui, current GSK's Senior Vice President, Worldwide Business Development and External Alliances. The 46-year-old has spearheaded GSK's efforts to revamp its drug discovery program and accelerate product development. But it goes on. It says the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has a $30 billion endowment with more than $5.7 billion in active grants. He will lead the foundation's efforts to develop and deliver all those drugs and everything that they've been doing that we all know about. The foundation already has ties to GSK, working with the drug maker on projects such as the development of the malaria stuff and the anti-HIV compounds used as microbicides, something like that. I'm not a doctor. I can't pronounce that stuff. But ultimately what I'm saying is another guy who has ties to Big Pharma as well as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was added to the administration to head up Operation Warp Speed by none other than Donald Trump. Interesting. Slaoui there, I don't think that's how you pronounce his last name, but that's what we're just going to go with. Also has a history at Medici Exi, Galvini Bioelectronics, Sutrovax, Artisan Biosciences, Human Vaccine Project, and Moderna. That sounds like deep state to me, but I don't know. Drain the swamp, right? Let's not forget that Trump's administration also granted 7 contracts to company all tied to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, DARPA, and other big tech companies. Let's take a look. Trump's National Institute of Health awards contracts to iCrypto, Shiatika Enterprises, University of California, San Francisco, Physics Inc., Vibrant Health, IBM, and Evidation Health. That was back in 2020 when that was going on. But if that's still not enough regarding all of this stuff, how about Trump getting involved with Gavi?
Gavi operates with great transparency, and Boris Johnson is somebody with tremendous respect for you and everything you do. He called, he said, you think you could do something maybe around the Oval Office or right by the Oval Office? I said, why not? It happens to be right behind me. As the coronavirus has shown, there are no borders. It doesn't discriminate. It's mean, it's nasty, but we're going to all take care of it together. It's great to be partnering with you. We will work hard. We will work strong. Send my regards to Boris, and good luck. Let's get the answer.
Nancy, I see your comment, so I guess you're saying to vote for Harris. Just a question. Of all the things that I just talked about, please tell me where I said vote for Harris. I just want to know where you got that from, because I didn't say any of that. But as I can see here, Trump decided to donate how much billion to Bill and Melinda Gates Gavi Foundation in order to get all this stuff done, which, again, I thought Trump wasn't involved with all that. Or is that just somebody else in his administration that did all of that and he didn't do anything? So again, question for everybody who throws that excuse out there. Then what did he do? Are you just saying all the good stuff, that was Trump, but all the bad stuff was somebody else? That's an interesting take to go with that. But, I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm not trying to be forward. I'm just trying to be blunt with this, because the excuses don't add up. They don't add up. And so I'm just trying to get answers on this. So if all the bad stuff was other people and all the good stuff was Trump, same thing with Biden, right? I mean, whenever anything good and stuff happened, that was no, it doesn't work that way. It only swings one direction. Okay, I was just curious. I'm still trying to forget the red-blue excuse system on that. Now, Trump, and a lot of people are saying, when are we going to get to the Vance stuff? Oh, I will. I'm just trying to get some background on all this. Trump is all for protecting our rights and guns, right? He said he's for the guns. He's for the Constitution, the Second Amendment, and all that stuff. No, he actually supports red flag gun laws and he wants to take the guns away before due process, as well as, he did that little bump stock ban.
Allow due process, so no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
might
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system, because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
Interesting. That doesn't sound very pro Second Amendment to me on that one. But then again, he's flip-flopped 5,000 times within a week on where he stands on that stuff. Same thing with like abortion and all that stuff. It's interesting how he just flip-flops. I'm just trying to point this stuff out because this is stuff that no other prophecy people will talk about, except JB Hickson and JD Farag. They're the only ones that will actually give you information about these people. It's sad because we have a large prophecy community that are so dug in with politics because we have pastors out there pounding their fists on the pulpit, telling people that if you don't vote, then the Lord is going to say, go away. I don't even know who you are, to paraphrase. And we've got all this stuff going on and people are lost. Why is that? Because they've been so brainwashed by this left-right paradigm that we have going on that's set up by the Luciferian cabal, the Freemasons fully involved with this stuff. They set this up. And we have people who they don't know any better. They don't know the actual facts of what's going on. You bring this stuff up to anybody and they just sit there and go, no, he didn't. I just gave you some of this stuff. I still got more. But this stuff's not talked about. We talk about one side. I often get this all the time every time I talk about this. Well, why don't you talk about the Biden stuff? I don't know. How about the fact that the other 10 people that you listened to this past week have all talked about the Biden stuff? But nobody has ever said anything about Trump. So why is it that you need an 11th person to talk to you about that? Why can't we have full disclosure of everything that's going on, including this system that has been built to get you to think in the exact direction that you just did? That's my perspective on this. Again, I don't think it's good to sugarcoat or ignore or any of this stuff when it comes to understanding the full spectrum of the absolute evil that is unfolding right now. These are the times of deception. We talk about Matthew 24 all the time with Jesus when he says, do not be deceived. This is part of it. And we're at the point now where not only are we being deceived where we're not getting all the information, but we're being deceived to the point where we have Christians who are lying to themselves in order to protect their own biases on things. I was a part of that group, believe it or not. I wasn't always this, I'll say it, callous to everything. It's just I've seen so much, I'm callous to it now, where it's just I just smirk and go, yeah, another piece of popcorn in the theater that's going on. I was fully a part of this patriotic freedom fighter, stand up for it type of crowd. I was fully blinded by the left, right, blue, red paradigm that was going on. I was one of those people. And I came out of it. Why? How was I able to do that? I gave up on my own bias and predetermined notions and decided to actually look into both sides of what was going on and look at what I discovered. They're both a part of the same team run by the same cabal. It's not the thing of, well, one side's more evil than the other. No, they're putting on a show where one side is more evil than the other, but both sides are completely owned by the same cabal, and they're both leading you down the same path. But that's something that I just don't think we can truly comprehend in the Christian prophecy arena, much less out going on in the secular world. Now, let's keep going. Trump, he was also demanding the rollout of 5G and the expansion into 6G. This is something else that he was going on. Coming straight from the White House website, remarks by President Trump on United States 5G development. He's talking about permitting access for 5G infrastructure for state and local governments, and he says it must be done, and they must now approve new physical infrastructure within 90 days instead of many years. That was Trump. He wanted the 5G rollout in 3 months. Not to mention, Trump was also on camera. I don't have the video for it, but demanding 6G technology to get it out as well. I've heard all the different theories about what 5G is doing to people. That wasn't Fauci. That wasn't Biden. That was Trump. Trump was doing that. That will be important later regarding technology. Now, everybody knows Obama as the drone king, right? Everybody knows that he was the drone king. He was the one just dropping bombs left and right with drones. I'm going to take this person out. I'm going to take that person out. Forget, the rules and regulations of what's going on. Obama was the drone king. I agree. But what do we call Trump and all this? Because everybody wants to talk about how he's the peace guy, where as soon as he stepped in, everything stopped, right? Well, one of the things that Trump did, he revoked Obama's rule on reporting drone strike deaths. Did you guys know President Trump has revoked the policy set by his predecessor requiring U.S. intelligence officials to publish the number of civilians killed in drone strikes outside of war zones? Yep, he took that away. Also, if we take a look at some of the stuff regarding the escalation of drone warfare, we can see the drone war in Somalia is just a part of this campaign. And it says in the first half of 2020, there have been as many U.S. drone strikes in Somalia, 40, as there were between 2007 and 2016. In less than 3.5 years, Trump had more than quadrupled the number of attacks in Somalia ordered by his last two predecessors. We can also see the cost of war regarding Afghanistan total between 2017 to 2020. Says international military forces led by the U.S. are responsible for a majority of those deaths by airstrikes from 2015 through 2019. 1,357 killed by international forces compared to 461 killed by the AAF. The number of civilians killed by international airstrikes increased about 330% from 2016, the last full year of the Obama administration, to 2019, the most recent year when this data was published in 2020. Then it goes on to say from 2017 through 2019, civilian deaths due to U.S. and allied forces airstrikes in Afghanistan dramatically increased. In 2019, airstrikes killed 700 civilians, more civilians than in any other year since the beginning of the war in 2001 and 2002. Interesting how that escalated rather quickly. I'm not saying Obama didn't do anything. I still refer to him as the drone king, but that did not slow down. It actually escalated when Trump took office. That was other people, right? That wasn't him. Plus, we have the section within the NDAA, or the National Defense Authorization Act, regarding that allows indefinite detention of American citizens without a right to trial, which Obama signed. He put it in. But did you know that it was approved and extended by Trump every single year since? So Trump was okay with that clause in the NDAA. Let's not forget the extension of FISA 702, which basically shredded American privacy, allowing surveillance and digital backdoors on all of us. He extended that. That was the thing that Snowden was warning about back in the day. Yeah, he extended that. As well as the American Civil Liberties Union lawsuit against Trump's advancement, not extension or anything. No, advancement. He added on to Obama's secret president kill list. And you can actually see the lawsuit right there. So Trump decided to not only keep that secret kill list, but he wanted to add extra stuff to it. And that's what he got sued for that. Those are just a few, guys. I've talked about other stuff that he's done as well, but I haven't talked about some of those in particular. I just wanted to put it out there. Make sure we get the full picture of what's going on. This isn't about red and blue. This isn't about Republican, Democrat. This is about they're both stinking evil. They're both a part of the same club owned by the same Luciferian cabal. And the sooner that we can understand that, the sooner we can stop compromising on biblical policies, because we can't let the other guy win. It's not about winning. It's about standing for righteousness, and we've lost that along the way. I'll cover some of that in a little bit later in this, but we've lost the plot. We've lost the premise. It's not about standing for biblical righteousness. It's about we need to win. That's exactly what Satan wants. because he gets the victory here in this world for that time, even though in the end, we truly know that the Lord wins in the end. Now, let's get to JD Vance, his VP pick, shall we? Let's start right off the bat, because I think this is, one of the 3 check boxes that I always look for when it comes to these people. Let's start right off the bat with abortion. What has JD Vance got on this?
On the question of the abortion pill, what so many of us have said is that, look, we certainly don't, the Supreme Court made a decision saying that the American people should have access to that medication. Donald Trump has supported that opinion. I support that opinion. I think it's important to say that we actually have to have an important conversation in this country about what our abortion policy should be.
Oh, so Vance and Trump both support the abortion pill. That's not good. I've also seen in the past, I don't know, month, he's had like 3 or 4 interviews regarding abortion, and he's all over the place, man. But he clearly seems to be on the GOP spectrum when it comes to, well, as if we can just allow a little bit of abortion, it'll help us win. Again, we're not here to win. We're here to stand for righteousness. If you support any type of abortion like that, I'm out. I'm out. You lost me. I'm done. I'm not for murder, and I can't support anybody who is. He then goes on in that same interview. I didn't want to play the whole thing. He then goes on to skirt around the subject by offering the solution of lowering surprise medical costs as well as housing for young families. He tries to skirt around it and goes, well, if we can just, affect these other things, then, abortion will go down. No, buddy. No, there's no skirting around this. You're either for it or against it, and you're trying to find some ways around it in order to win something. I'm out. I'm just out. You don't address the murder problem. That's a problem for me. He's also a poster boy for mystery religion because he is a Catholic. Well, first he was raised in a Pentecostal home. Then he went atheist. Then he became a Catholic. And he got pushed into becoming a Catholic by his now Hindu wife. That make sense. Could it be mystery religion? They also, during their marriage ceremony, included both a Bible reading as well as a blessing put on them by a Hindu pendant. So they had a mixed marriage ceremony there. He's a religious populist. That's what he is. And his insane 180, complete 180 when it comes to the Republicans as well as Trump. Let's take a look. Past comments on Trump. This is back in 2016. I'm never a Trump guy unless the money and the show tells you to be. Never liked him. Terrible candidate. Idiot if you voted for him. Wow. Some interesting words for the VP who is now a part of Trump's campaign. Split second 180, kind of like Trump did back in the day too, when he was full Democrat supporting the Clintons, and all of a sudden, nope, I'm Republican and I hate the Clintons. Same playbook. Interesting. But where we see the crossroads of Trump and the swamp really cross is Vance's background. Vance began getting groomed by none other than futurist and big tech investor Peter Thiel back in 2011 when he was in Yale Law. From there, Vance bounced around to Mithril Ventures to Revolution Ventures, and this is where he connected with some serious names, to say the least, as well as a future partner. He earned connections to Jeff Bezos, as well as the Walton family. You know them as the ones who created Walmart. He also connected with Colin Greenspan, which Vance started Narya Ventures with. And so we're going to take a look real quick, if I can find it. There we go. Part of Narya Ventures, there's JD Vance. He was the co-founder of it, as well as they support none other than the Catholic Hollow app. That's great. Rumble, we'll get to that in just a little bit later. Amplify Bio and Kriya Therapeutics. Let's start with Kriya, shall we? Who owns and runs Kriya? Shankar Ramaswamy. Yes, if that name sounds familiar, that is Vivek Ramaswamy's brother. Oh, it's all one big happy family, isn't it? Yes, Kriya runs in gene therapy or mRNA. has to do with all that stuff. And yes, Shankar Ramaswamy is the co-founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Kriya Therapeutics. He's part of the early foundational team at Roivant Sciences. If that sounds familiar, well, that's because that is Vivek's gene company. Yep. If you guys don't know, Vivek made his money off of mRNA as well as biotech in partnership with China. He started Roivant. He also started up Datavant, which was a part of a surveillance big 2020 registry system where he wanted to actually take people's DNA without them knowing and put it into a giant database. Yeah, that was Vivek Ramaswamy that wanted to do that. I actually did an entire thing on that too, if you want to go find it, where I break down him and Jordan Peterson, if you want to go take a look at that. But yeah, interesting. It's just one giant family that's going on over there. No wonder Vivek also is such a big supporter of Trump too. I wonder why that is. Oh my goodness. I wonder why that is. Now, let's head over to, because we've got it on here, Amplify Bio. What's going on with Amplify Bio? Let's take a look. Battelle investors, including JD Vance, launched gene therapy startup Amplify Bio. This is back in 2021. Battelle, along with a team of investors, opened the door to a $200 million gene therapy startup this week. Man, JD Vance loves to mess with people's DNA. Man, he loves to mess with DNA. The company, Amplify Bio, already has 135 employees based in separate square foot stuff. Don't need to know any about that. It says investors for the startup include Battelle as well as JD Vance's Cincinnati-based venture capital fund, Narya Capital, Connecticut-based Viking Capital, and New York-based Kasdan Capital. Vance, of course, is from Ohio. Now, it just keeps getting better. If you guys don't know anything about Battelle, well, let me tell you about him. Let me tell about Battelle, shall we? The Battelle Group has their hands in anything medical, national security, environmental, as well as infrastructure and industry technology. They're all over the board, but where they make their big bucks is they've worked on mRNA gene editing and research and have connected with groups like Moderna and DARPA. They've had contracts with both of those groups. JD Vance supported that. Interesting. This goes right along with Vance's pursuit of DNA altering ventures, as well as Mr. Warp Speed, Trump, his own obsession with them as well. You can dive into his history about what he supports on that as well, especially since he's still touting, even to this day, all that stuff. But we're on YouTube. We don't need to be getting into that. Let's go ahead and jump over to this next part here. JD Vance launches a venture capital fund for startups beyond Silicon Valley. Investor JD Vance has raised $93 million to start a venture capital firm, Narya Capital, based on his home state of Ohio, with funds backing from major names. Here we go. Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Eric Schmidt, and Scott Dorsey. Ever heard of some of those names? I'm going to introduce you to these guys. It ain't good, to say the least. So we'll get to Thiel a little bit later after we get through the rest of these, because there's a lot more going on. But let's take a look at the others, and let's start with Andreessen, who has been a main player in Silicon Valley with investments in Facebook, Twitter, Coinbase, Instagram, Skype, and a whole bunch of other ones. Scott Dorsey, and Andreessen will pop up a little bit later. I'll talk about that as well. Scott Dorsey is another billionaire investor whose focuses on tech startup investments. Now, Eric Schmidt, however, is one to pay attention to because he was Google's CEO from 2001 to 2011. Google's CEO. That sounds like swamp to me. As well as a leader in Biden's technology agenda, mainly AI development, use, and policy. Man, why would he be getting connected with somebody like JD Vance? Hang on to AI. We'll get back to that as well. Now let's introduce you to the man of the hour, Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, I've talked about him before in the past, but let's go ahead and let's just open up the door and boot the football out. I don't know. Let's just get into this. Thiel is a puppet master for Vance. Thiel owns Vance. He made Vance from Yale onward. It was Thiel that got him jobs, gave him money, and got him connections. He owns him. And as a guide as well for Trump, especially in the new direction that we're starting to see hints about. Thiel is a futurist and a Gnostic New Ager who believes that God has given us technology in order to develop transhumanism so we will be able to join him as co-creators in the universe. I kid you not. That's actually a quote from Peter Thiel. He calls himself a Christian. That ain't Christianity at all. He's also the head honcho of the Founders Fund. Let's take a look at the Founders Fund, shall we? Now, they've got a whole bunch of people that they support, but I figured we might as well just take a look at some of these here. They support SpaceX, Palantir, Neuralink, Anduril, Facebook, Stripe, OpenAI, Cognition AI, DeepMind, Modern Health, Unity Biotechnology, and there's a whole bunch of other things that they support as well. I just picked some big ones. Now, there's also something else before we go a little bit further. Coming up this October, the Founders Fund. Yes, Peter Thiel's Founder Fund is hosting, the Hereticon Conference. It's called the Apocalypse Party. Does that look Christian to you? Man, take that off the screen. Let's take a look. The Apocalypse will take place from the evening of October 28th to the morning of October 31st. Interesting. Right at the peak of our last pandemic, Founders Fund hosted the first Hereticon, a conference for thought crime. Our thinking was simple. Dissent is worth protecting. Most new ideas are wrong or useless. Some are even dangerous. But from science and technology to business and faith, progress in history has persecuted weirdos. So that is where we stand, and that is where we celebrate. In conversation, no topic is off limits. Genetic modification, natalism, parapsychology, artificial consciousness, defense, pharmacology, virology, sex, and God. There were lectures, there were performances, there were randomly and happily a marriage. 2 babies were conceived at the event, 2 more because of it. Wow. Just absolutely crazy. But this October, while our hope is still for guests to come and speak their mind, prepare your take, your talk, your robust defense to whatever heretical concept you believe a worthy cause. We'd like to introduce you a frame for your consideration, The End of the World. From the ending of October 28th to the morning of the 31st, we're hosting Hereticon II, an end of the world's fair, and a feast for the mind, the Apocalypse Ball. Wow. Interesting. Let's get back to the technology. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Now, one of the main things to focus on when it comes to Peter Thiel is Palantir. Palantir was co-founded by Thiel in 2004 and was a major player in Trump's transition team when granted major government contracts, all under the direction and supervision of the CIA. That doesn't sound too good now, does it? Let's take a look at this right here. Trump's transition team adds venture capital from Thiel's Founders Fund. Trey Stevens has a major connection to the CIA, and he was the one that was directing Trump's contracts with Palantir's contracts. What did they do? What's some of the stuff that Palantir did under this? Well, including being a major designer and infrastructure player for Trump and Barr's pre-crime DEEP program. Remember, we just talked about that. This is on top of the other dozens of military and tech surveillance contracts. Another one being a part of that is a company called Carbyne, which is Thiel's Founders Fund invested in, and Trump installed within our United States emergency system, keeping in mind that this isn't actually a U.S. company, it's actually an Israeli one. Guys, I don't care what country it is. nobody should be tapped into our emergency services except people in our own country. Because I know this would rub some people the wrong way, but I don't care what country it is. They don't need to be involved with this. But Carbyne. Carbyne is founded by Amir Elikai in 2015, following a personal experience that prompted him to disrupt the existing emergency collaboration technology ecosystem. 8 years later, Carbyne was born, mostly based in New York and Tel Aviv, as well as Mexico. Funding raised $128 million to date from Vanaco VC, Cox Enterprises, and there it is, Founders Fund for y'all. Yep, that was part of the contract going in mind there. Keep in mind, this company's main goal, if you guys don't know what Carbyne does, Carbyne's main goal is to suck private data out of phones and PCs. When you make a call to an emergency service, you're basically granting them access to every bit of data within your phone or PC, and their goal is to retrieve that data. Why would they do that? This data is being used to run our digital twin simulations so AI can accurately predict crime situations. Why is that? Well, we know the pre-crime thing, but why would they be doing this? This will enable smart devices, anything from your smart fridge to your smart street lights out in the city, to automatically send the correct emergency responders without a phone call or human involvement. The whole goal is to record all data and information from whoever's making emergency calls, add it to an AI system. So if something happens out in the thing and the smart city recognizes it, nobody needs to even make a phone call. It'll automatically dispatch emergency systems. Now that may sound cool, but that's straight dystopian. Say, I don't know, you're walking down the street and you say something bad about the current leader of what's going on. AI just sent emergency services. That's what it does. That's your pre-crime program funded by Peter Thiel and created by Trump and William Barr. This folds into Trump's and Barr's pre-crime program, and Thiel funds it. What about, oh, by the way, that never stopped under Biden either. They kept going during the Biden administration. Trump also did a major thing when it comes to tech, when it comes to social media. If I can find it, I got so many of these things in here. Here we go. Trump asked tech companies to detect mass shooters before they strike back in 2019. President Donald Trump called for a wide range of bipartisan solutions to help stop future mass shootings, even proposing social media companies create technology that detects potential shooters. But this is only stuff that the Democrats do. No, this is something that he's heavily involved and wrapped up with, especially when you have a guy like these tech guys like Thiel that's involved with this. Another big tech, big brother surveillance system funded by Thiel is a group called Clearview AI. Clearview AI closes $30 million contract. That was for Series B. But if we read on, this is 2021. Clearview AI, the leading facial recognition company that provides powerful and reliable photo identification technology to law enforcement agencies. Wow, there's more of your biometrics going into the government. Announced the successful close of $30 million Series B funding that rounds out the company to $130 million. In December 2019, Clearview secured $7 million in Series A funding from investment trusts, funds, and individual investors. Private investors included Peter Thiel. About Clearview. Clearview provides law enforcement agencies with investigative tools through the use of its revolutionary facial recognition search engine. It's a platform of 3 billion facial images. The largest known database of its kind is sourced from public-only web sources, including news media, mugshot websites, public social media, and many other open sources. Wow, that's great. Oh, did you guys know that that's also what's been helping fuel the Ukraine situation? Mikhailo Fedorov, who's the tech head of the country of Ukraine, thanks to Clearview AI and personally the creator of it, for ongoing support to Ukraine. As of now, over 900 people from 7 Ukrainian government agencies use Clearview AI, conducting over 125,000 searches. The newest global tech in our bravery, the win strategy for Ukraine. Yep. Just keeps going. Let's take a look at Peter Thiel's cognitive AI system, shall we? Where's that? There it is. Billionaire Peter Thiel lends backing to Cognition AI, a potential game changer in the AI sphere. The technology developed by Cognition AI is expected to revolutionize the industry by transforming user data into tangible interactive mediums, such as a website or video game, according to a report by Bloomberg, a small company out of New York that's doing it. So what exactly is Cognition AI? Cognition AI received an initial $21 million from Thiel in early 2024, followed by another $175 million in April. Cognition is the world's first AI software engineer. If that doesn't make sense, think of it as an AI that can write and fix other AIs. You guys want progress in AI? That's progress. Then there's massive funding by Thiel into Anduril, the defense contractor, which is, of course, the defense contractor started by a guy by the name of Palmer Luckey, who Thiel snatched out of. He was like 19 when he got involved with when Thiel snatched Luckey out for this. We've mentioned Luckey before in the past with his connection to Abundance 360, which is Silicon Valley's version of the WEF's Young Global Leader. They're not connected to the Young Global Leader program, but it's basically the technology in Silicon Valley of the WEF's Young Global Leader. And that's run by Peter Diamandis out of the Singularity University. Let's take a look at some of the faculty that have served for Abundance 360. Elon Musk, Sam Altman, there's Eric Schmidt again, Tony Robbins, Ray Kurzweil, Emeka, which is actually a humanoid robot, Mark Benioff, who is all wrapped up on the board of the WEF. He's also the chairman of Salesforce. Martine Rothblatt, the transgender that's working on trying to install human consciousness into robots. Chad Hurley from YouTube. Sal Khan from Khan Academy. David Sinclair, who's co-director, Center for Biology of Aging Research at Harvard Medical School. Kai-Fu Lee, an expert, as well as former president of Google China. We got Steve Jurvetson, co-founder, managing partner of Future Ventures, as well as there's Palmer Luckey from Anduril. Man, it's just the who's who of the swamp club going on in here. Guess who else funded Anduril's services and gave them contracts? Yeah, that would be Trump's administration. Funded by Trump supporter Peter Thiel, the autonomous surveillance towers can detect a human along the U.S. border. Anduril received a $13.5 million contract by the United States Marine Corps for that, as well as a bunch of other contracts as well, which, again, you guys get the picture. You can see they're on that contract to Anduril Industries, Inc. So, again, who's guiding who here? Who's guiding who? Especially since Thiel got his boy all up in the political game now, doesn't he? There's plenty more contracts between the U.S. Defense Department and both Anduril and Palantir, but again, I think you get the idea. Now, why does this matter? What does all this matter? Why does this have to do with Vance and Trump? Why did we just talk about this guy? Because Thiel continues to own Vance and Trump's direction of AI technology in Silicon Valley. And it's only the beginning. You guys ready? Let's get into it. Let's start with this. If I can find it. There it is. Peter Thiel and JD Vance, how PayPal founder. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Peter Thiel also created PayPal. And then later on when they joined in with X, that's when Elon Musk came on board. So yeah, Peter Thiel is all wrapped up in that. So Thiel and JD Vance, how PayPal founder boosted VP's candidate political career. When JD Vance first met Peter Thiel, Just get to call him Thiel from now on. I can't do two words at the same time, apparently. 2011, Vance was a student at Yale Law School, and Thiel, a venture capitalist, gave a speech at the university criticizing modern society. Down with society. Vance later wrote that he was trying to find a place in a highly competitive atmosphere. I find it fascinating that he seems to be from such a poor background, but he was able to afford Yale. That's a curious question that I just don't seem to have an answer for. And Thiel's speech awoke something in him that made him realize he didn't want to practice law. No, he wanted to alter DNA and get involved with technology. That's what he wanted to do. Vance would go to work for Thiel at his venture capital firm in Silicon Valley. More than a decade after they met, Thiel would help Vance win a seat in the U.S. Senate with $15 million to support his campaign, which launched Vance to his selection Monday as former President Donald Trump's running mate. Vance's first claim to fame may have been his rise from rags to riches, but Thiel was a key to his political success. Who is Peter Thiel? What does he believe? Well, again, early investor, PayPal, 1990s, Facebook in 2000s. Keep in mind, Facebook is also a DARPA company as well, so Thiel has background in DARPA as well. That's important to understand. He's also known for the financier of a lawsuit against Gawker that bankrupted the website and longtime Republican donor who has spent more than $49 million on campaigns since 2000. When Vance expressed interest in running for a Senate seat opening up in 2022, he went up against a crowded primary field that included several wealthy individuals who gave tens of millions of dollars to their own campaigns. Vance, who by now was rich from his own venture capital career and sales of his book, gave his campaign $1.4 million. But Thiel, whom Vance once described as a good friend, became Vance's biggest backer by far. Thiel gave $15 million Protect Ohio Values, a super PAC that ran ads supporting Vance's candidacy. The PAC spent more on ads to elect Vance than all of money Vance's career raised on its own, and it's one of the largest amounts Thiel has ever spent on a single candidate. I wonder if that has something to do with him being the VP selection. During the campaign, Vance offered top donors to his campaign as an invitation to a small group dinner with him and Thiel. That's right. Donate to the campaign and you can have a behind-the-scenes dinner with the donor, I guess. Some of the ads Thiel's PAC ran for Vance boasted his endorsement from former President Donald Trump and said Vance would help secure elections. Another said Vance would help finish Trump's border wall, end welfare for illegals, and defund sanctuary cities. Although Thiel enthusiastically backed Trump in 2020, he expressed disappointment with Trump's tenure and stayed on the sidelines in 2020. I'm not sure about that. He just seems to be doing everything from behind the scenes now, not out in front. I think that's a key thing to understand. So is he not backing Trump? Is Thiel not backing Trump anymore? No, not so fast. He's just not doing it publicly because ex-Trump backer Peter Thiel, if you hold a gun to my head, I will vote for Trump. He's just got a lot more going on behind the scenes now. He doesn't need to be out in the public. Doesn't need to be doing that anymore now, does he? Vance and Thiel's Silicon Valley kingdom has shifted to supporting Trump, and the influence comes from Thiel, basically the puppet master for Vance, as well as Trump's push for tech and AI now. So we're going to get here. We're going to start with Elon Musk, which supposedly there's now, he came out and said that he's not going to be doing this anymore, but we're just going to go ahead and go over it anyways. Musk came out and said he would pledge $45 million a month to pro-Trump super PAC. But apparently, as of today, he says he's not going to do it, which is interesting. It's just back and forth, back and forth. Nobody knows what's going on. It's all up in the air. Keep everybody guessing. My guess is even if he's not publicly supporting him, he's still got plenty of things going on behind the scenes, as well as Elon Musk, as well as the anti-Biden brain trust, bonded at an exclusive Hollywood Hills dinner. Elon Musk at an exclusive April dinner commiserated with a group of billionaires about their distrust in Democratic politicians such as Joe Biden. The outlet said Musk and the venture capitalist David Sacks, another billionaire, hosted the private event at Sacks' $23 million estate in the Hollywood Hills. In attendance were Republican donor Peter Thiel, hey, he's there, former Uber CEO Travis Kalanick, and the investment banker Stephen Mnuchin, hey, who previously served as the Secretary of the Treasury under Donald Trump. It's just the who's who of billionaires in Silicon Valley that are all of a sudden all jumping over to Trump. Can we gather anything from Vance's tenure in Silicon Valley? Let's take a look. Before embracing MAGA, Vance made big money in San Francisco tech world. JD Vance joined the world of coastal elites, building a robust venture capitalist career and hobnobbing with some of the wealthiest tech leaders in the Bay Area. Yeah, to say the least. Keeps going. The Silicon Valley tech community Vance entered was fairly liberal, perhaps less so than the Royal Blue San Francisco nearby. Still, several tech leaders told The Times the industry has also harbored a cohort of conservatives, and some of the more vocal members of this minority emerged during the Trump years, including Elon Musk, David Sachs, and Peter Thiel, who are all in Vance's corner now. We just read about a dinner that went on. As Vance's tech career was taking off, so too were his political ambitions. And though he labeled himself a never-Trumper in 2016, we looked at some of those quotes. The Ohio Republican was coming around to more Trumpian postures, much like his sponsor in Silicon Valley. Thiel, who also served on the board of Meta, Facebook's parent company, was becoming increasingly attuned to boosting Republican candidates. His Silicon Valley connections have already come in handy in his political career. Several news outlets reported that Vance was key in helping Sachs organize a fundraiser in June that raised $12 million for the Trump campaign. As I look out into the convention, I see a party that is strong and unified behind Trump and his pick for vice president, Sachs said at the Republican National Convention on Monday night. Wow. Let's see what else JD has going on with this. Vance, a figure that has transitioned into U.S. politics, brings a unique perspective to the ongoing debate surrounding technology and antitrust legislation. Oh, here we go. We got something a little bit new going on here. The significant leap in Vance's career could trace its origins to the early support of Peter Thiel, major figure in Silicon Valley known for co-founding PayPal and Palantir, connections with Musk. Vance's admiration for Federal Trade Commission Chair Lena Khan, expansive view of U.S. antitrust law was evident, suggesting potential policy direction in a new Trump administration. This is important, guys. Vance's support of Khan highlights a split between the conservative movement balancing a desire to reduce regulation with utilizing antitrust laws to address dominance, particularly in the tech sector. This perspective aligns him with Republicans such as, you guessed it, Josh Hawley and Matt Gaetz. Basically, they want a broader, less regulated tech industry. Wonder where they're getting that from. Senator Vance has expressed skepticism for strong regulations against AI technology, arguing that such legislation could give more power to big tech incumbents. Wow. And he goes on to talking about how we need to basically open up that door for AI. That's not good. That's not good. But that seems to be a spokesperson and a puppet for Silicon Valley, if I've ever seen one before. Why do we go over that? What's important? What does this have anything to do with what Trump is going to do in the future? Why is this a big thing? Well, we have to go no further than the Manhattan Project. No, not that one. The new one. Trump allies draft AI order to launch Manhattan projects for defense. The plan to make America first in AI and roll back burdensome regulations would favor Silicon Valley's investors who are now flocking to support the former president. Oh my goodness. Who would have thunk? Former President Donald Trump's allies are drafting a sweeping AI executive order that would launch a series of Manhattan projects to develop military technology and immediately review unnecessary and burdensome regulations. Keep in mind, who's the one that funds the two major defense contracts with the United States? That'd be Peter Thiel, signaling how a potential second Trump administration may pursue AI policies favorable to Silicon Valley investors and companies. The framework would also create industry-led agencies to evaluate AI models and secure systems from foreign adversaries. According to a copy of the document viewed exclusively by the Washington Post, the framework, which includes a section titled Make America First in AI, presents a markedly different strategy for the booming sector than that of the Biden administration, which last year issued a sweeping executive order that leverages emergency powers to subject the next generation of AI systems to safety testing. Employees from the America First Policy Institute, nonprofit led by Trump's former chief economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, and other ex-Trump officials have been involved in the effort, according to a person familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of a word that I can't say. They wanted to be anonymous. That's how I can say it. In preparation for the week's RNC in Milwaukee, the GOP adopted a platform that includes repealing the Biden AI executive order, which some tech investors and startups have said created a regulatory burden that stifles innovation. The GOP is taking that track amid a broader political realignment in Silicon Valley. Shocker, right? This is theater. This is absolutely planned and scripted. And Silicon Valley, where some executives and investors who once embraced former President Obama have now come out in support of Trump. A couple more on this. We will repeal Joe Biden's dangerous executive order that hinders AI innovation and imposes radical left-wing ideas to the development of this technology, the GOP platform says. In its place, Republicans support AI development rooted in free speech and human flourishing. Key words to keep the fake conservatives happy. Greater military investment in AI probably stands to benefit tech companies that already contract with the Pentagon, such as Anduril, Palantir, and Scale. Key executives at those companies have supported Trump and have close ties to the GOP. In the chaotic aftermath of the attempted assassination by Trump, key tech executives, investors, including Elon Musk and hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, have endorsed the president. On Tuesday, venture capitalist, hey, there he is again, Mark Andreessen. Remember that name? I told you we'd see him again. And Ben Horowitz endorsed Trump on their podcast. Man, it's just, they're all one big happy family now. They said that he was the best candidate for little tech. Oh, that's the ones that they support and bring in. And he's also talked about they want to remove the regulations as far as new technologies such as blockchain and AI. Trump has been making greater overtures to Silicon Valley in recent weeks, appearing on the All In podcast, which is hosted by a group of prominent tech investors, and attending a fundraiser at the home of podcast co-host and former PayPal executive David Sachs. Remember, we just talked about that as well. Last up, in an on-air discussion after the interview, the tech investor said Trump needed to surround himself with people who are more smart about technologies, including AI and nuclear power. Chamath, and the last name I'm not even going to try, founder of the venture capital firm Social Capital, said Trump's San Francisco fundraisers showed he enjoys greater support in the tech industry than he had in 2016. There are all these people that are coming out of the woodwork, Chamath said. If he can figure out how to build a cabinet with those people, meaning those extremely technical, thoughtful people, then there's a real shot that he could change it. And that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing. Now, if you don't believe me, let's hear straight from Trump at the latest RNC about this system.
America is on the cusp of a new golden age, but we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. We're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it, Japan wants to do it, all of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new, if you look at some of the things that have been done and some of the things that we're going to do, but AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine?
Oh, make America first in AI. His goal is to ramp up energy production and ramp up technology and AI. Exactly as we've been discussing tonight, with his main focus being on getting the tech and Silicon Valley sector. It's one big club, and you ain't in it. George Carlin. He was way ahead of the times, I'll tell you what. What is happening, what we see occurring, is a targeted shift in the minds of the right-wing society. The right-wingers, the people, secular and Christian, the right-wingers. We are seeing a targeted shift in the minds. What do I mean by that? A group of right-wingers, conservatives, and churchgoers are so zeroed in on beating the left, they will compromise by voting for their own enslavement. And this is exactly what they want. Exactly what they want. They have created a society, believers and non-believers, who their main goal now is only to beat the left. And they will compromise and ignore and forget everything else without even realizing that what they're voting for is the same exact stuff that people like the left and the WEF and the UN all want to bring upon us. But they don't care. They don't care. Why? We got to beat the left. Even if I'm signing up for exactly as what they want to bring in. If I haven't made you angry already, this is the part. I'm pretty sure if I've made anybody angry, they've dropped out at this point. If I haven't made you angry already, this is the part that will do it. Is psychological play designed as political theater has millions duped. Whether it's non-believers that hate with a burning passion anything that is left, or Christians who have been programmed to believe that voting for an evil that they themselves biasly deem as the lesser evil is the righteous thing to do. Keep in mind, these are the same people who for 4 years have been shouting about a stolen election, but somehow voting harder this time will make the difference. Make that make sense. I want to tell you the hard truth. And I hope those who oppose me at least think about this. When you say not voting is a vote for the Democrats, all that means is you're telling yourself a comfortable lie as you vote for the same ownership group of a different color. To put it more simply, it's honestly as just giving yourself a participation trophy. You're free to do what you want. I'm not telling anybody to vote or not to vote. I've never once said that. I've never told anybody what to do on that. You do what you feel led to do. I just want to make sure that you have the actual factual information on things that all the other people just don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. You're free to do what you feel led to do, but I just want to make sure you understand that the lesser evil is still evil, and your vote does not matter in a rigged election. And it's, well, the lesser evil is not the righteous option. As much as people like to try and put those together, voting for the lesser evil is not the righteous option. It's just not. You're telling yourself that. It's similar to when I see something like this. These are actual comments that I saw. I blurred them out. I didn't want to, get anybody in trouble or point anybody out, so I blurred them out. But this is what they said. Somebody said, this is in a Christian chat room. Somebody said the Constitution Party supports both our biblical values and our Constitution, unlike the Republican Party, who does not support all unborn life. Now, I don't know all the details about the Constitution Party. I know of them, so I can't go one way or the other. But it's the response that I want to point out. Splitting the votes is not a very good strategy, in my opinion. You know what that means? That means I don't care about voting for the biblical principles. I just want to vote for the party to beat the other guys. That's a Christian saying that. Whether they believe that or not, which deep down they do, but whether they're willing to admit it or not, if you're more interested in splitting the votes rather than actually standing for biblical principles and righteousness, even if you know it's a losing battle, you're not doing it right. Period. We are called to stand for righteousness. We're not called to only stand for righteousness if there's a chance to win. Otherwise, we can compromise on this other stuff to see if we have a better chance of winning. That's the route that they're taking. And I know so many people, so many Christians that think that direction. That's not right. Rather than standing for what's right and biblical, you rather compromise in the name of the political game, exactly as Satan wants you to do. We are to vote according to biblical principles, right? Even if it's a lost cause, we should still choose to vote for righteousness. But no, Christians have been deceived into playing this game. I posted this on my Telegram a little while ago. This is the big icon. It's the double-headed eagle, adopted by Freemasonry in 1759. Two wings of the same bird, two heads of the same bird, all under the crown of the same Luciferian group. The double-headed eagle, a powerful symbol of the order, represents the unity of opposites and the merging of dual powers. Its two heads gazed in opposite directions, symbolizing a comprehensive dominion, overseeing both past and future, or the esoteric and exoteric realms. This is the political system in the United States right now. Whether people want to believe it or not, this is exactly what's going on. Why did I bring this up? Still got a few more, guys. Trust me, I haven't even gotten to the us part yet. That wasn't even the us part. Why did I bring this up? Because part of this grand illusion of getting people to vote for their own enslavement comes from a certain media platform and the rise of the figureheads around it. I told you we'd be right back here. Rumble. Narya and Peter Thiel lead investment in the Rumble. This is back in 2021. Funds to be used to launch new cloud services and expand the existing video platforms as Rumble addresses market demand for new alternatives to incumbent platforms. Rumble, a video platform focused on helping millions of creators manage, distribute, and monetize their video content, welcomed the investment of Narya Capital, Peter Thiel, and Colt Ventures. The investment is being led by Narya, a Cincinnati-based venture capital firm co-founded by JD Vance and Colin Greenspan. We just went over that. Narya is joined by this investment by Peter Thiel, famed entrepreneur and venture capitalist who has a long and storied track record of investing in frontier technology companies, including PayPal, Facebook, Palantir Technologies, Compass Pathways, and many other ventures. The past year, Rumble's monthly viewership has grown from 1.6 million users per month to an average of 31 million per month in the first quarter of 2021, an increase of more than 1,800%. Wonder why that is. Donald Trump's Truth Social partners with Rumble and bid to take on YouTube. Back in 2021, Donald Trump has partnered with video sharing platform Rumble to provide streaming services for the former president's new social media network. In a statement by the Trump Media and Technology Group announced that it has entered into a wide-ranging technology and cloud services agreement with Rumble that will include delivering video and streaming for Truth Social, which is set to launch fully next year. We can also see here that Rumble Live, yes, funded and put on by Rumble, is for a Donald Trump Jr. free speech event who also hosts people like Viva Frey, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Glenn Greenwald, and Chris Pavlovsky, who is the CEO of Rumble. Yeah, hang on to that. You'll see some of their names again later. And it says Peter Thiel invested in Rumble with JD Vance. One of Vance's and Thiel's earliest joint forays into politics may have been in 2021 when they invested in Rumble as a conservative alternative to YouTube. Wow. The investment went through Vance's Cincinnati-based private equity fund. According to the Wall Street Journal, Vance's financial disclosure from 2022 valued its firm stake in Rumble between 15,000 and 50,000. This will be a major play against big tech. Chris Pavlovski, the CEO of Rumble, told the Wall Street Journal in 2021. By 2022, Rumble became one of the leading social media news platforms on the right, according to Pew Research. I wonder why that is, because their goal wasn't to build a neutral free speech platform. Their goal was to build an entire alternative right-wing media empire under the control of Peter Thiel, JD Vance, and Donald Trump. That's why when you go to Rumble, it's a whole bunch of the same people getting promoted, all talking and promoting and being cheerleaders for Donald Trump. We'll talk a little bit more. I've said for a long time, since I discovered this news back in 2021, I saw this and started looking into it. You can ask my dad. He's even in the chat right now. I told him privately. I never did anything publicly, but I told him privately that this was going on, that Rumble is a part of the Trump Q Great Awakening paradigm that is and they're helping make it happen. Because of Rumble, we've had names rise to the top of this great conservative leaders of our day, but in reality, they have just become psyop media, whether they think they are or not. Keep in mind, sometimes these people can be pawns without even knowing what's going on. You hand somebody a check to talk about specific things, they'll do it. People like Tucker Carlson, Redacted, JP Sears, Russell Brand, Charlie Kirk, Dan Bongino, Viva Frey, Benny Johnson, and more. And we can even see more of the cheerleading going on with Tucker Carlson, who applauds Trump's VP pick, JD Vance. Every bad person in Washington is aligned against him. People who say things that we don't like or say things that we do like, but at the same time, they're making a psychological ploy to cheerlead a specific group and create hate for the other. As Christians, we're not supposed to hate the other side. We're supposed to view them as the mission field. But I sure see a lot of hatred towards lefts, even in the Christian and prophecy community. It's just a thing that I've noticed. This is part of this giant empire. Secret Republican group budgets millions for media and influencer programs. Those names that I talked about, those are your influencers. There's a new group of affluent conservatives planning to revamp the American right. This is back in 2022, by the way, by investing more than $30 million into a new legal policy and media ventures, including influencer programs. The coalition, known as the Rockbridge Network, features prominent conservative billionaires like Peter Thiel and Rebecca Mercer. She's the one who created Parler. The network aims to disrupt but advance the Republican agenda with its new policy and media programs. According to a network brochure obtained by the Times, the Rockbridge Network will replace the current Republican ecosystem of activist and media organizations with better action-oriented, more effective people and institutions, basically people that reach the crowd of today's world. What is the Rockbridge Network? It's a coalition of Republican donors funded by Christopher Burskirk, the editor of American Greatness. And the coalition of donors is reported to include technology entrepreneurs Peter Thiel and conservative activist Rebecca Mercer. The coalition of the donors include other Silicon Valley billionaires as well. Former President Donald Trump reportedly addressed a Rockbridge Network summit in April of 2022. And in 2021, the Rockbridge Network held its first meeting in Arizona. Hang on to Arizona. I'm going to point them out a little bit later. First meeting in Arizona, one of its target states to make more solidly Republican. Republican donor and activist Peter Thiel spoke at that initial summit. The alliance of donors gathered at a private summit in South Florida in the spring of 2022. The summit included a closed-door address from former President Donald Trump, as well as several Republican U.S. Senate candidates at Trump Mar-a-Lago Club. Let's keep going. This is back to that original article. The brochure doesn't reveal the details of of the news media ventures, but sets a working budget of $8 million for 2021. Named initiatives include public relations and messaging, a rapid response communications team for conservative activists and leaders, funding of polling, sponsorship of area-specific coverage and influencer programs, investigative journalism, documentaries, and other projects for cultural influence and renewal. You can see it here. There's the giant donation. The brochures focused on influencers programs follow a year of massive spending from the Trump wing of the Republican Party on similar initiatives. Last December alone, Trump's Make Great America Again PAC paid over $50,000. That's the thing that you're seeing there, to the influencer marketing firm Legendary Campaigns, according to FEC records. Additionally, the National Republican Senatorial Committee paid the firm a similar amount for advertising. In December, The Verge detailed the conservative college group Turning Point USA's latest efforts to onboard influencers into the movement. At the time, TPUSA touted more than 400 ambassadors, and its 2021 investor perspectives budgeted more than $7 million for the organization's media arm. So according to the 2020 investor prospectus there, if we take a look at some of the pages in there, who are some of the influencers by this project? And let's do a little experiment, go on Rumble and see if these guys are promoted by Rumble. They are. Graham Allen, Rob Smith, Benny Johnson, Stephen Davis, Isabel Brown, Kendall Jones, Jordan Rachel, Aaron Elmore, Morgan Zegers, Alex Clark. Actually, before this, when I went to the main YouTube page, there is a video for Alex Clark being pushed by Rumble. Interesting. They have original shows by Graham Allen and Benny. I was going to say Benny Hinn. That's not Benny Hinn. Benny Johnson. Different Benny. Alex Clark, as well as Isabel Brown there. But you can see with our state-of-the-art production studio located, where at the Bill and Rebecca Dunn Freedom Center in Phoenix, Arizona. That's the main point where the Rockbridge Network made a giant push. It's become a giant psyop, whether you want to believe it or not. And Rumble is at the heart of it. So with all this stuff going on, meet the new power team for Trump. Vance, Thiel, and Musk. Trump's going full technocracy, whether you want to realize it or not. That's his push. That's what he's being led to do. Adding on to all of this, and Trump's love for deep state swamp things, he's unveiling what he calls Trumponomics 2.0. Which includes enforcing huge bilateral sanctions, even though he claims I don't love sanctions. He keeps circling back to William McKinley, who says raised enough revenue through tariffs during his turn of the 20th century presidency to avoid instituting a federal income tax, yet never got the appropriate credit. He will allow Jerome Powell, another swamp thing that he added during his presidency, to serve out his term as chair of the Federal Reserve, which runs through May of 2026. He will lower the corporate tax rate as low as 15%. Yep, got to get those corporate tax down. Got to keep Silicon Valley happy over there. No longer plans to ban TikTok. He considers Jamie Dimon to serve as Secretary of the Department of Treasury. Now, that's just a rumor. Not confirming or denying, but I got something in a minute that might show you what's going on with that. As well as ambivalent to the idea of protecting Taiwan from Chinese aggression and to the U.S. to punish Putin for invading Ukraine. Keep in mind, with all of this, and I've reported on this before as well, Trump has said multiple times that he believes the dollar is too strong. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of Jamie Dimon, if that's not enough swamp for you, how about this? Again, just a rumor, but hang with me. Trump's odd and interesting relationship with the money manager who has his ear. According to the old cliche, opposites attract, and there may be no greater example of this than the odd, interesting, and for the country beneficial relationship between Larry Fink and Donald Trump. Yes, you read that right. Fink. Larry Fink, BlackRock, And Trump. Match made in heaven? No, to be more precise, made on Wall Street. He once served as Trump's money manager and the GOP populist former president, and according to polling, likely future prez, still seeking out Fink for insights into the economy. Sure, Trump likes to tout JP Morgan superbanker CEO Jamie Dimon as a possible Treasury Secretary, but it's really Fink whom he likes, respects, and speak with, I am told. The feeling is mutual in the relationship I explained in my upcoming, don't care about his book. During the Trump presidency, Fink was all in on environmental ESG investing, yet somehow he was appointed to Trump's Business Advisory Council. Now, you might be saying, this is just hearsay and stuff on the media and stuff like that. Let's go to the actual White House website, shall we? This is back a meeting by Trump and the Strategy and Policy Forum back in 2017. Who was on his Strategy and Policy Forum? Mary Barra, Chairman and CEO of General Motors, Doug McKillen, Walmart, Larry Fink, BlackRock, Elon Musk, Tesla and SpaceX, Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase, Ginny Rometty, IBM, and Steve Schwartzman from Blackstone. Drain the swamp or add more swamp things in. All right. After all that, we get to the us part. The us part. Whether you want to believe it or deny it, Trump has become a messiah figure and an idol of worship, and a literal cult has been created. Let me show you a few things. Conservative media personality Todd Starnes urges Christians to leave their churches if their pastor did not mention the Trump attack during service. If your pastor did not address the assassination attempt in today's service, you need to find another church. Bold words. There's a tremendous spiritual warfare being waged in this country. This is no time for limp-wristed woke evangelicals. Now, if you mentioned it in church, that's fine. Got no problem with that. Needs prayer. Everybody involved with that situation needs prayer. We're called to do so, and as good Christians, we should absolutely do that. But if your church didn't mention it and they still preach the gospel and get the biblical principles correct, why on earth would you leave? Why? Because they worship that guy. They think he's above everything that's going on, whether you want to admit it or not. Let me show you this as well from the RNC meeting.
Did you know that President Trump was shot on 6/11? And do you know that Ephesians chapter number 6, verse number 11 says, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power?
Oh man, I am so oh, every time. How can we gain more credit and make this person seem more holy and godly than anything? Well, let's just take our Bible and that's what he's doing. He took the time and found a scripture that fits best for the situation to make it look good. And what's funny is he actually even got the verse wrong. He said that was Ephesians 6:11. He actually said he's Ephesians 6:10. He can't even get it right. Where it says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Let's take out 6:11 from different parts of the Bible. Let's see. Deuteronomy 6:11. What does that say? Houses full of good things, which you did not fill. Hewn out wells, which you did not dig. Vineyards and olive trees, which you did not plant. when you have eaten and are full. Man, I think that applies to the Donald Trump assassination. What do you guys think? Yeah, we can get a lot out of that, right? What about Micah 6:11? Shall I count pure those with the wicked scales and with the bag of deceitful weights? Yep. Yeah, that fits the assassination too. What about this? Exodus 6:11. Go in, tell Pharaoh, king of the Egypts, to let the children of Israel go out of his land. I think that applies too. What about Acts? Acts 6:11. When they secretly induced men to say, we have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and God. Oh, no, we can't use that one, because then that makes Trump seem like a bad guy, because he's saying blasphemous words against Moses and God. So we can't use that one. No, we got to go use the other one, because that fits more with the agenda that I'm trying to push through. I saw this all over social media. These people just, did you see it? You take the time and put it there. Well, we just looked at a few other scriptures from 6:11, and now they fit about as well as the other one, don't they? Man, that stuff burns me. What about this one?
What if I told you that the Holy Bible says not once but twice that blood on the right ear is a sign of consecration, is a sign of being devoted to God's service? That's the sign that the Lord instructed Moses to do for Aaron and his priest sons, because they were supposed to be consecrated to perform the service of the Lord. I'll read for you first from Leviticus 8:23. Moses slaughtered the ram and took some of its blood and put it on the lobe of Aaron's right ear, same ear that President Trump was shot at, and there was blood on his ear. And then in Exodus 29:19 and 20, you read, take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on its head, slaughter it, take some of its blood, and put it on the lobes of the right ears of Aaron and his sons. And if you skip down a few verses, then it says that he and his sons and their garments will be consecrated.
Maybe you guys heard it and I didn't. Fill me in on the spots or on the verses that talks about taking a sniper shot to the top of the ear, because I didn't read that in scripture. Actually, what I heard had nothing to do with piercing the ear or getting shot or any of that. It actually had to do with taking blood from a ram and putting it on the earlobe. Again, just another one of those things of trying to take a world event and jam it into the Bible. Stop it. Stop it. It's ridiculous. None of that applies. But that's some dude from LifeSite News that's out there because why? Gains clicks, gets more Trump followers to get onto their website. More ad revenue. It's all a show. It's all a game. That's all it is. How about this one?
Seems like God's hand is on his shoulder. Your thoughts?
I believe it. I believe we all witnessed a miracle, literally. From, before it happened, the flag above got blown in the wind and it got tied into literally what looked like an angel. Did you see that video?
I didn't see it.
Oh my gosh, you guys have to find that. It was truly, it was like an angel coming down, and it was the American flag tied. They had to bring it down, and all the people in the stands helped unravel it. And it was literally before he came out on the stage.
So a big flag apparently got wrapped up in an angel before Trump took the stage. Or could it be, I don't know, wind? I'm just throwing it out there. Just I don't know, just spitballing, throwing something against the wall, see if it sticks. It could be wind. No, but clear answer is an angel got trapped in the American flag. That's what it was. Yeah. How about this one? Oh my goodness. Okay, this is just anybody who believes this, go take a nap, grab a juice box, and I don't know, I'll talk to you tomorrow. They literally believe that this is going the opposite direction. This is them believing that Trump is the Antichrist. And they say Revelation 13:3, one of his heads seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast. Quick question. How many people in the history of ever have died from a scratch on the ear? Tell me how that's a mortal wound. You guys know what a mortal wound is? Leading to death. Please tell me how that's a mortal wound. Again, stop trying to jam stuff in the scripture. Stop it. Just wish I could just reach through the screen. It's just, oh my goodness. It's ridiculous what people come up with. Got two more for you. Posted this one on my Telegram. This is literal cult stuff.
The next Vice President of the United States, JD Vance. Our ally.
That's literal cult stuff. That's them worshiping their idol. And I've seen Christians, use the excuse and try and defend it, justify, oh, it's just joke, it's funny. It's not. These people are worshiping Trump. They are worshiping Trump. And you know what? Prepare yourself for this one. No, seriously, prepare yourself for this one. These people also believe somebody else is worshiping Trump. I kid you not. A picture of Jesus in front of the American flag with a bandage on his ear. You know what that means? That they believe Jesus is honoring and looking up to Trump, our Lord and Savior, the God-man who defeated death and gives salvation for those who choose to place their trust in him. And they have demeaned him and lowered him below Trump. This is a literal cult. People claiming to be doing what the Lord wants them while replacing him at the same time. People are seeking a redemption on this earth that they will, so much so that they will ignore truth, compromise on biblical principles. They will, and then deny that they're not doing it. They will believe their own lies. They will vote for who they want to win. They will vote for Trump. And for those who don't, they will actually end relationships with those people. And they will justify anything to hold on to Trump. I'm convinced, and I'm not saying this to be sarcastic. I'm not saying this to have shock value. I haven't lost my mind. I actually believe this. I am convinced that Trump could walk out on that stage and literally say, "Hail Satan," and Christians will make excuses and justify it. I actually believe that. And I'm not just talking about just, blinded and non-prophecy watching Christians. No, I'm talking about people even in the prophecy community. I believe that if Trump was to do that, they would still justify it in order to win. I mean, look at who they were praying to at the RNC.
Dear Waheguru, our one true God, we thank you for creating America as a unique haven on this earth where all people are free to worship according to their faith. We seek your blessings and...
Yeah. Had a Sikh praying to the one true God, Waheguru, for creating America. And many in that room had their heads bowed, praying to that God. That was Sikh Harmeet Dillon praying to Waheguru. Plus, they had a literal Satanist, Amber Rose, up there as well. I was going to show you some pictures, but I actually believe that I would get banned on YouTube if I was to show you the pictures. I'm being serious. It's disgusting, to say the least. So I won't do that. I mean, everything is justified and is excused in some type of way for this man and for this party. Same on the left too. It ain't just here. Same on the left too. But that's exactly how the Freemason Luciferian people want it. Now, I've often been asked, well, who do we got left? RFK Jr.? There's only one thing you need to see for me to go, nope.
But so to leave, so in other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned and leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion?
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely. It's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved,
even if it's full term.
Even if it's full term.
Okay, and I think.
Yep. Should be up to the woman, abortion, even if it's full term. That's enough for me to go, nope. Nope. I can't support murder. Can't do it. And lastly, I've shown these before, and I mean lastly, this is lastly, guys. I know I told you it was going to be a long one. I told you. But I just thought I'd just lay everything out. Lastly, I've shown these before, but in 1995, there was a card game called the Illuminati card game that was released. And it predicted things that could only be answered by it being cabal controlled. Things like 9/11 and the Pentagon being blown up and these types of things. In one of the expansion packs for that card game, there's a card called Enough is Enough. You will see on the card, it looks identical to Trump. And it says at the top, at any time, at any place, our snipers can drop you. Have a nice day. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Look familiar? Now, I'm not one that usually goes along with stuff like this, but that's too coincidence, and I don't believe in coincidence. I think that's quite revealing. All a part of the show. All a part of the show. I'm honestly more tired of watching Christians choose to be ignorant of the facts and watch them try to justify these things. It's taking a toll on me, actually. It really is. You can even talk to my dad. It's taking a toll on me. It's not the situation itself. It's not the people involved. It's watching so many Christians that I know that actively choose to just lie to themselves and justify these things, as well as a whole bunch of other people that I look up to that refuse to even talk about these things, all because they don't want to say anything bad about the right for whatever reason that they have. I don't know, but they just don't want to talk about it. This is a cult mentality, and it is the world's mindset that is set in place for the coming Antichrist. This is the perfect mindset. People are willing to fight and die and justify an excuse, all in the name of their own political party, by a person that doesn't give anything a care about anybody below them But this is the mindset prepared for the Antichrist. They're looking for that leader. And this is proof that the belief of being saved automatically gives you discernment is just untrue. I've been seeing that a lot lately, all over the place, about people. Well, you know, I got saved and I got the Holy Spirit, so that means that I know the truth and I have discernment. And no, it doesn't. That's not biblical. There's nothing in the Bible that says everybody gets discernment when they get the Holy Spirit. It's one of the gifts that people can get, but not everybody gets it. And just look at the infighting between the crowds, between our communities. There's a divide all over the place on things, from people that are saved, truly saved. Wouldn't we all, have the same discernment level of things and not be fooled by the same things? We'd be all on the same page if that was true. Just because you're saved does not mean that you have that. But that doesn't mean that we should actively choose ignorance or an evil, even if you tell yourself that it's lesser. Evil is still evil, period. The Bible doesn't say choose evil or the lesser evil. It says choose righteousness.